Hi guys. So tonight I am going to just start by having a chat about a little metaphor type thing that I was thinking of yesterday. And I thought it was a really good one. I hadn't really thought about it before, and it was so kind of obvious. I want something in my hands to play with. So I was thinking, like, the Avatar movie. So you know how in the Avatar movie the humans go into the body of the Na'vi and they have that experience and learn about the Na'vi and all that. And like I've previously spoken about my the pain, the torturous experience about, that I've always felt that I didn't fit in. And this is the whole kind of starseed journey experience. We our whole lives we try and wrap our heads around what our reality is and where we fit. And for example, there's a lot of talk these days about starseeds and all the different types and everything like that. And it's just next level working out where you fit in and what feels right to you. Because so many of us just don't and have never felt right in our lives, like whether we don't fit in the bodies we're in, like and we don't fit in this society, and we don't feel understood, and we just don't gel with this society. And like, how is that possible? And over our whole lives, like, we try so hard to fit in, and yet you still never do, and you're trying so hard to work out why, and you go through the whole phase of, well, there must be something wrong with you, and then maybe you seek help. Maybe you end up going to psychiatrists, maybe you seek treatment, maybe you go on antidepressants. There's so many different paths. Maybe you become an addict, maybe you seek religion, maybe you just do anything you can to escape this reality. This kind of mindset of the person that just does not feel like they fit in. They don't feel like they fit in with their family. They feel like an alien. And now that there's all this information coming in, like, backtrack a bit. Like, before this whole starseed, all this information was coming in, there was, we tried to figure ourselves out through, let's say, medical diagnosis for starters. And we tried to figure ourselves out, like, personality types. There's so many different quizzes out there that you can take to try and figure out, like, you get into shamanism, and then there's like, what kind of spirit animal are you? Like, then there's astrology. That's been a big one. There is, all these different archetypes that we try and relate to try and help us understand ourselves, to get us some semblance of belonging, of understanding ourselves and our place in this world that we just don't feel like we gel with. And some of us have, this extreme, this experience to the extreme. And there are many different paths that people, let's just say people like me could possibly go down. And unfortunately, like a lot of the time, it's people really get a little bit. I'm getting the word bent, twisted, broken inside. A lot of people take their own lives. They just can't wrap their head around the existence. A lot of people, head down the addiction route, and things go pear-shaped before they can actually understand themselves enough to break through. And some people just go through their lives in this constant state of, I guess, torture every day. That, they know that they're not being themselves, they know that they don't fit in, but they just do what they can each day in order to numb and try to fit in. And if you're anything like me, you would have tried many different things to try and find where your path is, where your people are, or what actually feels right to you. Maybe some of it worked, maybe, who knows. Like, no matter what happens, if you're looking, you're learning, right? And now these days that we've got the whole starseed information coming in, and if you resonate with it, you know immediately, right? Like I did. So it's not like I've been through every path pretty much in my life, and this is just another one area of exploration that resonated with me greatly, which I've explored. I've explored many pathways to get to know myself and to really to understand my experience of this reality. And, side note, just to, we all have a different experience of our reality. Even if we've been in the same surroundings with the same people our whole lives, all of us have a different experience. And that in itself begs the question, why? Why do we all, like, for example, within the one family, you can experience the same things but be so different. And it's experiences like that as a child that makes you question. And this is kind of my experience. I've always been looking for answers. I've always asked why. Anyway, so I'm going to get back to the point. So the point of what I'm getting at is this experience. I wanted to try and get everyone to try and understand this experience of starseed, the feeling of being a starseed. And because I also get you know, there's a lot of people out there that just know and resonate with it. There's a lot of other people out there that are poo-pooing the entire thing and give, you know, they give people shit. But anyway, so this is like a metaphor or an idea for everyone to grasp the concept of what it feels like to be an individual who feels like they do not fit in. So it's like kind of a lesson in empathy through, I'm hoping people, no matter like where they are on the spectrum or whatever, they'll be able to grasp what I'm getting at. So the Avatar movie. So yeah, in the movie the humans go into the avatar bodies. But so in my idea, like, so imagine, and you really got to put yourself in it. You've got to really empathize. You've got to embody this idea, right? To grasp the experience of what some people feel in their day-to-day lives in this reality. So imagine if you were a Na'vi, so one of these jungle blue beings, a Na'vi individual who woke up in a human body and, you know, for example, born into a human body but had the Na'vi spirit. And they were put into a human family, human society, but, you know, they still held this Na'vi spirit. So even if it was a baby, like, this is what starseeds feel like. That, you know how the Na'vi are just like connected to the earth, they're connected to each other, they just have this knowing and feeling how it, you know, should be. Everyone should be connected, and, you know, you know what I'm getting at, right? And I hope you can put yourself in that position of an RV spirit child brought up in the human world of, you know, all that war and guns and pillaging just for minerals, and not connected to the environment at all. And, you know, they're being told to just fit in, and, you know, there's barely any love going around, authentic connection, love. And they're brought up, imagine the pain that they're feeling each day, the longing for their home, for their jungle home, for their Na'vi tribe mentality. This is what we feel like. This is our experience of starseeds. This is what I can relate to. This is why every day is painful, is torture, because this is not what I'm used to. The Na'vi experience is what I'm used to. And it's taken me this long and this much searching, and now with this starseed information coming in and me wrapping my head around that and really feeling it and knowing it, it explains it all to me. And so this for me is the perfect example to show someone, if they can wrap their heads around that idea, then they can understand what my experience has been like my entire life. Because we've all watched the Avatar movies I'm hoping everyone can relate to the blue beings, the Na'vi in the movie, of how connected and how much they cherish their people and their land, and how connected they are, and how painful it is for them that the humans want to destroy it, and all that kind of thing, and that they just don't get it. And then that individual being seemingly alone, surrounded by the humans, not understanding why they don't fit in, and why all this is happening, and why they're there. Like, something must have gone wrong. And this is the other thing that kind of popped into my head, the whole myth around the changeling children, how the fairies would swap out a baby. Like in the old days, people would say it's a fairy child, like the fairies took my baby and left their baby, and the fairy baby would be part of the family. And that's what it's like. It's being a changeling. It's being a fairy put with the humans. And then you've got to ask yourself, why? Why would they do that? Really it all makes sense if you're wanting to help the humans. If you can, first of all, you've got to understand, like in, the Avatar movie, like which species is actually more evolved. Which species would you rather be? Or maybe it's like, how do we get the species to coexist? What can those species teach each other? What are the best of the both species? So, this is like this is what I get with this experience, the Earth experience, the Earth experiment, is to blend all the different species, energies, in order to share in one little globe. And one way to do that is to get energies, beings that have had a lot of lives somewhere, that are, old souls that have this energy, let's say, have been a Na'vi for a really lifetime after lifetime. Get them to go with the humans, or the fairy child, to go with the humans, and then them just being there shares their energy, which it can't help but to have an effect on those around them. By pure osmosis, if nothing else. But what we're seeing these days is a lot more, and it's always been the case. Just look at Jesus, absolute starseed put there too. There's so many. It happens everywhere, all the times. Like, Elvis, Jim Morrison, so many of the, like, Marilyn Monroe. Like, there is some really, and I've talked about this before, about the hellish experience that these people have to go through. They all went through, Michael Jackson, prince, they all went through a certain level of hell and was just so different to their surroundings, but made such an impact, such an impact. And you know, but yeah, like at the same time, like I feel the pain that they went through. You just have to watch that Marilyn documentary, and you know, a lot of the time these beings, these people, the changelings, the starseeds, you know, they're put in an area obviously where their energy is needed, but their energy is, it's like chalk and cheese, and so obviously they're going to be freaking like, we are so different to our surroundings that our experience can't be anything but challenging. Challenging is the best way to put it. Yeah. So, you know, yeah, so I was just, I guess, I thought that kind of metaphor of the experience, what it would be like, what that Navi's experience would be like if they were put into a human body and told to live as a human, what hell that would feel like within them, having to fit in with that society. And you know, if you can really think about that, like meditate on it, like put yourself there, put yourself into the Navi body, and then back into the human experience and what that being would feel like, and having to live their whole life like it. That is the torture I feel every day, but at the same time I feel the energy of the Navi, and the connection to earth and the animals and everything, and my ancestors and everything, and so I feel the bliss, but I can't escape the torture at the same time. And yeah, I've tried to kind of explain that a couple of times, different ways in my writing and everything. And I thought this one's like a little visual thing that you can put yourself into that kind of position, when you're watching the movie and stuff. Yeah. And that's how so many of us feel these days. We feel so different. And then, this is what you call a light worker. How there's a lot of talk about being a light worker, a starseed. We've agreed to come down here and just by osmosis change our surroundings because of our historical energy, because of the energy we're bringing with us. Yeah, and we don't understand a lot of this energy quantum involvement and everything, but if you just think that some people that come in, for example, an RV individual, let's just say that's always been an RV, lifetime after lifetime, they're coming in and they've got a blue energy. And they come into the humans who, let's say, the humans are red. And that blue being, that blue light is come down and is now surrounded by red light. Like dye, that blue light within that being, wherever that being goes, is changing like dye in water, is changing the colours all around it wherever that being goes. So for example, like if I've come down with a really strong blue light, and there's red lights everywhere on earth, wherever I go, I'm kind of changing the lights around me to purple because of my colour mixing with the colours around me, the red around me. And that is what like a light worker is. And there's many different beings coming down with different colours that are doing this, and it's like these really powerful colours, strong colours that have had a long time strengthening their inner colour, have said, I'm going to go down and share my colour with Earth because Earth needs it. We need it. So we come down and we've got a really strong colour. And, we've made that agreement to do it, and we come down and do it, and it's really, a lot of the time it's a really shit experience. But we've made a difference just by being here. And that's what it is to be a light worker or a starseed. We're sharing the stars' colours, our family, our star families, mighty powerful colours, with Earth in order to slowly change the colour and change the frequency, raise the frequency, and that's what it's all about, and that's what we're here for. It's another way to look at it, to try and understand. I know there's a lot of people talking about it and a lot of people poo-pooing the entire idea, but really when you just like break it down to something that you can actually understand, that it makes sense. It makes sense. How, and I know so many people feel very similar, have similar experiences, but they just don't ever get to the point of learning enough about themselves and the world and the universe in order to get to the point to have the realization that that's why my experience has been the way it is. But I feel like obviously more and more people with the internet and everything like that these days, everyone can learn about these things so much quicker and understand more, and there's more people talking about it now, which is awesome. That there's not that much fear about talking about this stuff, and about our own experiences. We're sharing, we're opening up, which is really important, so other people can try and, sympathise, empathise, and learn. We can learn from each other, and that's the beautiful thing about being authentic, is that if you're authentic, and people know when someone's being authentic, you can trust that. And then you can, truly relate and break through the layers of ourselves and feel better about expressing yourself, your true, authentic self, and dig deeper and be okay with your experience and, get to a place where you can understand it more. And, yeah, because understanding it does help with the torture of the human experience that we face each day, that we're still really stuck. It's so hard being stuck. In the monotony of this human experience, this society, it keeps you trapped in the freaking, the rat race thing that you just can't get out, and yet, that's all bullshit, and they make it so hard just to exist and be you and to be free. I mean, that's my experience. Anyway, I really struggle every day. Every day I struggle. It's just so bullshit what you have to do in order to... You just can't get away from it. Money and all that, And what, we've all just been conditioned to accept, and we are all just keep going on. But it's like we're all screaming to get out of it, and yet we just can't find that. We can't find a way to get out, and so we just keep going in torture mode. And I feel it, and it's painful. It's painful to me to feel that from everyone around me. And, everywhere I go, it's so yucky. And I just want to go back to this forest life of the Na'vi and freaking dance on these glowy plants and connect with the animals and Mother Nature. That is my spirit. That's what I want to do. And that's why, I'm drawn to shamanism and like tribal life. And yet, I'm stuck. In this financial hole, like that so many of us are in, that we can't get out to even have a semblance of the life that we want to live. And that's the torture. That's the soul crushing freaking thing. But at the same time, this whole starseed, this knowing, this Na'vi knowing that I have within me of what my experience of life and reality could be, that knowing does not allow me to get sucked into the human thing. And that is a blessing. So I will never accept it. But never accepting it is a torture in itself, because everything I have to do, and I know I don't want to do any of it, and I know that none of us really need to do any of it, but that's just the system we've got going on right now, and it's bullshit. I don't agree with it, and It's made, it's designed in order to get you trapped in it. We're all trapped in it, and it's fucked. And no one's happy. How do we get out of it? Or how do we change it to the point where we have a more easy existence? Yeah. So I'll leave it there for that one. Yeah, a little bit more kind of understanding of my reality and what I understand many people out there have, you know, this experience that they just don't fit in. It takes them a long time to figure out, or even, yeah, maybe a lot of people never even actually get to the point of trying to figure out why, or being open-minded enough to look in more directions. But I tell you what, this like metaphor, like this starseed, explains so much on my soul, heart knowing more than anything else that I have explored, and I've explored a lot. I've explored a lot of avenues of who I am, and it is this avenue that is the cherry on the cake that really brings it all together, and is like, yeah. So that's it, you know, that's why I'm into this stuff. And, you know, yeah, open-minded to let it in and let it sink in, and it absolutely feels right. And yeah, that in itself has opened up pathways for, I feel, you know, that in itself has opened up pathways for me to reconnect with my star family, who is a touch of home, which I have never had in this experience before now. And so they've brought me, opening up to it has brought me home again through that connection with them, which makes this experience livable. And pretty special, and amazing amongst all this hellish torture that we have to go through every day. Yeah. Yeah, so that was that one.